Tommy Curran. How are we doing today, sir?
Christian, top of the world. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's nice to talk with you here. Happy early holidays, because I don't believe we'll be talking with you next week at this time. So let's go ahead and get to the burning topic of the day, something that you were reporting on, we heard on TV, and that is Mike Vrabel's interest in the Patriots. What kind of person would be interested in coaching this team, Tommy Curran?
Somebody who doesn't have a job?
Right. Sure. But if he has other options, I mean, people are assuming that Vrabel's going to be a popular candidate in the upcoming head coaching cycle. They did say that last time, too, and he didn't get any offers. But they're saying it again this time. Is that legit? Like, is he just saying that because he doesn't have a job, or is there real interest there?
Well, I don't know. I didn't say he was saying it. He's interested and has been because of his long – and I know that it really dates back to his affinity for the area and the team. I've known him for a long time, and he's always been interested in this franchise. And he explained that last year, I think, during his Hall of Fame ceremony. So it's pretty obvious that he's always had interest in this team. Why would it be attractive, though, is an interesting question when you realize that they have probably the second or third overall pick. They have what certainly looks to be the best quarterback from this draft, which is a good quarterback draft, and a massive amount of cap space. And it's going back to a place you're familiar with. Why would you not want to go to this team? I mean, it certainly doesn't have a hell of a lot of talent. You're right about that. It's expansion level, or worse, because they didn't even have a chance to take the two unprotected guys from every team. Think about that, Andy Hart. You were covering the team in 2002 when the Houston Texans became the 32nd team.
Yep.
There's a better chance when you're an expansion team to get good than the Patriots, and the Patriots don't even have an expansion-level roster sometimes when you think about it.
Indeed. So we're talking about Mike Vrabel having interest in a job that isn't open. Do you feel strongly that it will not be open? As we had Adam Schefter on yesterday, and he said, the Crafts have no plan to move on from Gerard Mayo, but everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth or they go 3-14. Do you believe the job will be open?
But can I just reconfigure one thing, too?
Sure.
He would be interested in the job if it were open.
Sure.
It's just to reiterate, he's not interested in coaching the Patriots per se, as in I can't wait for someone to get fired or anything like that. I just know that over the course of time, as Greg Bedard also reported, he likes this franchise. He would be interested in being a part of it, I believe, is what I want to try and redirect to. But what was the question?
Do you think there's a chance there will be a job for him to be interested in?
I don't think it's a high chance. I don't think it's a high probability. But I think, unfortunately, I would have put it at a much more remote, almost non-existent chance a week prior. But, it's not been a good week for Gerard. And that, I think, has to be taken into consideration all the way through. We can say, and this went on with Bill last year, unfortunately we're kind of deja vu. The decision was made to move on from him, but had he ripped it up down the stretch and the team played with unbelievable motivation and closed the season with brilliance, could they have changed their mind? Sure. So you always have to allow for the changing of minds based on the results when there's still time on the clock.
Do you think we should read in at all to the Kraft silence? I mean, we did see them during the broadcast, and they were taking their notes, and lip readers did a better job than I could have of getting into what they were actually saying to each other, but they haven't said anything publicly, and it doesn't seem like they're giving a lot of outward signals that these jobs are all safe. Is that something we should read into at all?
I think we understand Adam Schefter is as plugged in as anybody in the league. And if he's going to say it on your radio show, you can pretty much bank that he's not just making it up out of whole cloth. So, and that's kind of the way I feel as well. Honestly, I believe that Gerard Mayo coaching for his job and being on the hot seat was a manufactured story by us. We created the hot seat and then we dropped him in it. And that's why I think he's a little mystified at the questions about his job security since the Patriots literally announced, we might struggle this year. I hope we don't struggle, but we might struggle. So the conversation that exists that again was started last week, and Greg said, it's an 80% likelihood that Gerard will be back. It was if everything goes really badly, the Patriots could consider moving on from Jerod Mayo. It's a lot of qualifiers there. So I think that we have created a story, and that's why I think the Crafts would be reticent to come out and give some kind of a vote of confidence, because they've already given it by saying this might be a bad year. We're ready for it.
So the video that Arcan just referenced, the close-up of Jonathan taking notes, had a piece of paper or something with him. I asked Adam Schefter yesterday, did he believe that the Crafts are trending toward meddlesome owners or are meddlesome owners at this point? So I'll ask you the same question. Do you think they are trending toward meddlesome?
I think they're urgent, and I think they should be. And if your team, you made a mistake in not opening up a more full search, or you feel that, hey, we're going to pull Bill out of here and then see how it looks, and you're not taking notes, paying attention, being prepared when your team is going to go 4-13 again or worse, then you are negligent. So I think that the notion of the Crafts having novice coaches, a novice GM, novice coordinators, except for Van Pelt, who actually has acquitted himself pretty well, I think, in being urgent, then they would be negligent. It doesn't rankle me. I would, however, and we might talk about this, and you might be rearing to go on this too. I think the Crafts could definitely use a football overlord.
Ooh, yeah.
Same way Parcells was, same way Tom Coughlin was for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're going to have all these novices and you don't want to look like meddlesome owners, or you don't want to be meddlesome, or you feel like you're in a position where suddenly you're spending a lot of time vetting the decisions that were made, then you don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. So you have to add some layer between them, I think. Bill was his own overlord, but he had 25 years of experience when he got here. And he had extremely experienced coaches who shared a philosophy with him. So to me, I think a football overlord would cure that.
I love the idea of a football overlord. I'm not sure how many candidates there are. I saw you on TV throw a name out there. That was Scott Pioli. Is that spitballing, or is that something you think could be a consideration, or something that Pioli would even be interested in?
I was spitballing because, honestly, our old friend Mike McCann he answered a quick slants poll question and mentioned the idea. And I said, well, that's actually a really good idea.
Yep.
So I kind of leapfrogged off of that and had been speaking to Scott earlier in the day, coincidentally, but he is the kind of person that you would look to. Would he be interested? I know he loves the NFL. I know he's been a team builder in multiple places. I don't know specifically whether or not he would have interest in doing it, but probably would be worth a call to him or Dimitroff or anybody who seems to have team building experience and can vet a little bit what the GM would do under him. And again, I just think it's a layer where you have somebody to bounce things off of, who can also be, if necessary, an evaluator of how the processes are working.
We're talking with Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston. Tom, you sort of mentioned, and other people have alluded to the idea that all of this is kind of moot unless things get really, really bad down the stretch. That was an awful loss, we all agree, to Arizona. You got 2 games coming up against maybe the hottest offense in the NFL. They're putting up 50 points a night in the Buffalo Bills, and a Chargers team that's been pretty good as well. How bad do you think it could get in these last 3 games?
I don't know, man. I mean, it could get really bad. I mean, not to be a dink. Sometimes I'm a dink, I know.
Yep.
But think about the question, how bad could it get? I don't know. I mean, could guys just start – I mean, it would have to look like chaos. And I don't think last week was chaos. I think it was individual breakdowns on multiple plays, which is maddening because whether it's Layden Robinson, Ben Brown, Vidarian Lowe, Jabril Peppers, Anthony Jennings, who's less on the hook than the other guys I've mentioned, or Alex Van Pelt being tentative with the play calling – there's an easy path to being competitive in that football game. That was not a full system breakdown, but it was the same old stuff. So I don't see a team that has failed to play. I don't see a mutiny. I do see a level of dysfunction with the Alex Van Pelt stuff that existed this week. It was a bad look all around, from Kayshon Boutte to Gerard Mayo all the way up to ownership. And unfortunately, I think that they're kind of greasing the skids a little bit for the poor guy to be the scapegoat.
Tom, I'm going to drop something on you right now that you may know nothing about, quite honestly, because we just saw a statement released by the Patriots. They're placing Christian Barmore on NFI due to recurring symptoms that required further evaluation. Are there concerns about Christian Barmore's long-term football future? I mean, he came back and then he wasn't himself, clearly. Now they have to shelve him for the season. And I apologize for throwing this at you if you really don't have too much.
I think, in a vacuum, having not spoken to anybody, there ought to be. I mean, it's the same thing that David Andrews dealt with, and he missed the entire year. Maybe it was premature. And in terms of bringing Barmore back, and probably in hindsight, they would have to acknowledge it was. I'm sure he was cleared medically to do it, but if it recurred, well, then you have to get it fixed, and hopefully it can be fixed so we can continue what should be a really promising career. But it would probably be in the back of everyone's mind that let's get him set and then cross the bridge of how long he'll play after that. But I think anybody dealing with that kind of recurring non-tissue or ligament and internal issue, you don't know how it's going to flesh out. Certainly, that's really too bad.
All right, it's now time for our Flex of the Game presented by FlexCar. Ditch the dealership and save thousands with FlexCar in Buffalo this weekend. What do you think? What's the Flex of the Game, Tommy?
Flex of the Game is going to be flexing up mentally and looking to have 5 penalties or less. Ideally, 2 for 10. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. 2 penalties for 10 yards. I've seen teams do it. I've seen the Patriots
That's your best flex ever. A very specific request. 2 penalties for 10 yards.
They're both going to be Jalen Polk, but yeah, that's probably it. All right.